Yo, what's up, everybody? I am back, and today we're going to be reacting to the Haters Guide of the 2018 NFL Playoffs. The wildcard games were today and Saturday. Those games will be done by the time this video goes up, but sadly my Lions did not make it. But today we're going to be reacting to this guy. This guy made the same MLB Playoffs Haters Guide. He does all of those. I really love this guy. I've been waiting to watch this video. So let's go and get into it.
Let's just say it's been a bad year for the Shield. Anthem protests, a civil war between the Puppet and Shadow Emperor, metric tons of blowouts, a bunch of pissed off fans and players, and nobody knows what the fuck a catch is anymore. But all of that is wiped away. It's Lombardi time. The quest for the Super Bowl will hopefully lead us to both glorious triumph and horrible pain. Who are the 12 teams partaking into the ultimate crusade this year? Hey, Buffalo, you made it back to the big dance for the first time in this millennium. Honestly, took you long enough. It really has nothing to do with the Bills themselves. They are still the walking mediocrity, but the NFL merely chose to grade on a curve this year. In fact, the Bills did their damnedest to sabotage their own efforts. They released and traded away key pieces to their defense. They fucked over Tyrod Taylor yet again. They thought it was a good idea to start a 5th-round selection at QB that immediately threw 5 picks in the first half. They lost 5 of 7 after a 5-2 start. This is a team that is merely being carried by LaShawn McCoy, and they still thank Chip Kelly for gift-wrapping him to Buffalo. Let's put it this way, the last Bills playoff game is almost old enough to purchase tobacco. The Music City Miracle was the last time they were here. In fact, I think Bills fans are still bitching that it was a forward pass. Hopefully it gets a little better this time. Speaking of which, if I were to conjure the essence of mediocrity, if I were to bottle this mass and sell it for a ridiculous markup, I would call it the Titans. If you want an example of how the AFC was a total fucking joke this year, look no further than these guys. A team that was expected to take a step forward but chose to stagnate and fester. The defense is uninspired. Marcus Mariota has regressed to the point where he can barely throw accurately, and the coaching staff continues to misuse every single asset for the sake of old-time hard-nosed football. The fact that you are in the playoffs is an embarrassment to the entirety of the league. You people are frauds. I personally can't wait for the inevitable blowout that will result in elimination because it may result in some needed change. But then again, just like everything else, that aspiration will probably be 1 yard short. Alright, which version of the Chiefs are we actually going to get in January? The team that looked like one of the league's elite rushing off to a 5-0 start, or the one that brought back the choking in style and lost 6 of 7? This season of the Andy Reid Show has been one of the more interesting episodes in recent memory, and thanks to an AFC West that completely fell to shit, they have a chance to win a playoff game at Arrowhead for the first time since the feudal age. If there is any comfort for Chiefs fans, there is plenty of liquor available in my cabinet if they manage to go full Reid yet again. The unfortunate news is that I'm raising the prices significantly. Hey, I need to take advantage of the demand. Good work, Jacksonville. You are not the forgotten lolcow this year. In fact, I dare to say that you aren't absolute shit for the first time in over a goddamn decade. All it took was a defense that brought about one of the most cringeworthy social media campaigns of the year. But for all the hashtag Saxonville claims, Blake Bortles is the key to your success. Will we see the Bortles that completely sabotages the entire season, or the one that carved up Charmin Soft's defenses for a few weeks? It's your last chance to prove yourself, Bort. Don't drop the keys in the sewer yet again. Prove that you aren't fool's gold, Jaguars. I have my doubts. How do you lose to Tennessee twice? It's time once again for the insufferable March of the Yinzers. This edition coming with significant amounts of drama and infighting. Expectations are high for these fuckers, but I have resigned them to 2 fates. They are either going to play down to vastly inferior competition and suffer a humiliating defeat, or they are going to be embarrassed yet again in Foxborough. In fact, I'll up the stakes this year. If they manage to somehow prove me wrong, I will eat one of those terrible PITTSBURGHers on camera while that awful Here We Go song plays in the background. I don't see it with how bad this defense is, especially without Shazier. It's sad because this could possibly be the last shot at a Super Bowl with the offensive core they have assembled. Don't fuck it up again. Wonderful. New England is the #1 seed and favorite to win the AFC yet again. Please excuse my enthusiasm for this revelation. If there is any comfort to the rest of the league, this is not your father's Patriots. The defense has been an absolute tire fire for most of the season, and it doesn't help matters that they lost one of their best players in Dante Hightower. But knowing the football gods, Tom Brady will once again rape and pillage all those that stand in his way with new age recovery techniques and an obliteration of Zone D. That or they will benefit from the NFL not knowing what a catch is yet again. The weak spot of the Death Star has been exposed. Strike with punitive fury. So you made it, huh? I was worried you were going to wither away just like every other big game over the past few years. Oh, I didn't mention they still haven't shed the choking bug yet. No, surrendering a 25-point lead in the biggest game of the year wasn't enough for them. They have to have us laugh with even more spectacles like blowing a 17-point lead to the Dolphins. Or attempting to pass on a 4th and 1 against the Bills. Or trying desperately to hand games to opponents nearly every week. Dan Quinn is making Lehman Bennett look like a mild disappointment in comparison. At the very least, the pieces are still in play to make another Super Bowl run. Get Dr. Heimlich for a few weeks. Trust us, it will help. After nearly bottoming out this past year and in the offseason, the Panthers have proven that it was merely a fluke and have returned to playoff form. But it comes with a few catches. Cam Newton is the MVP in mercurial inconsistency, and they play down to vastly inferior competition on the reg. Unfortunately, the Jerry Richardson seatbelt technique does not work when it comes to football games. Nice to see that you took Dave Gettleman's team, chucked him under the bus, and gave him no credit for their success this year. May Cam and a bunch of try-hard 12-year-olds stab themselves to death as Jerry sells the team. So how the hell did this happen? A team that was projected to be nothing more than mediocrity defined managed to reinvigorate themselves to rival the days of Bountygate. Even more baffling is that they managed to do it with emphasizing defense and the run. Seems like most good things happen without AP after all. The two-headed monster of Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara have taken the league by storm. Marshawn Lattimore became the shutdown corner they've desperately needed. And I haven't even mentioned Drew Brees yet. Bourbon Street is once again flowing with ridiculous amounts of liquor. Someone push them over while they're drunk and see how they respond. Hopefully it's gagging on the remains of Greg Williams. Turns out the main issue with last year's disaster of the season truly was Jeff Fisher. Everything has done a complete 180 since then. Todd Gurley has returned to form and re-emerged as the key piece of the offense. The defense has been repaired and revived by old man Wade Phillips. The real Jared Goff is probably lying somewhere on the bottom of the Pacific and has been replaced by a sentient being that can throw a football. This should be a fun and exciting team, an easy fan favorite to root for. And then you realize it's being run by this shit stain of a human being. The guy that deserved a successful team the least has been rewarded for sandbagging a team, crying wolf when it happened, and drove dozens of people off their property in Texas, driving one man to suicide. Maybe it's just like Arsenal where they shit it in big games too. We can only hope. The Vikings have once again boarded their longboats and are ransacking the league for their endless quest for a Super Bowl ring. Imagine me telling you at the start of the year that they were going to do this with goddamn Case Keenum as their QB though. Fun laugh we had back then. The true secret to their success is an unsung defense that harkens back to the days of the Purple People Eaters, completely stuffing everything in their path. Although I have to ask, just to keep my bases covered, how are you going to blow it this time? It's a Minnesota tradition after all. The last time you made it here, it was wide left on a chip shot field goal due to the laces being in. Somehow I feel you are going to one-up yourselves on the pain scale yet again. And then your fans drink themselves to death in another Viking funeral. The NFC East was the equivalent of a catastrophic plane crash this year. The Giants turned into the New Age Cleveland Browns. The Cowboys underachieved and tried to organize a coup d'etat. The Redskins were, well, the Redskins. And then there are the Eagles, a team that completely soared over the NFC thanks to their Lord and Savior Carson Wentz. A long-awaited Super Bowl was finally coming to Philly, and then Wentz was crucified for our sins in Los Angeles, on top of a bevy of other injuries to the organization. Let's be blunt, the odds are completely stacked against you. Nick Foles is the great value version of a quarterback. The NFC is absolutely loaded with talent this year, and the team has struggled immensely against garbage competition since Wentz's injury. Prepare your anuses, it's time for a fan genocide in Philly. Or is it? These 12 teams are ready for action to take home the spoils for their fan bases. Which ones am I going to jinx this time? I'm going with New England versus New Orleans, the obvious choice against the dark horse candidate. If there is one thing that comforts me, I will not
Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys want more reactions to this guy, I can do that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and like for more. And until next time, I am out. Peace.